James Davis.
Hello, listener, and thank you so much for joining us on the Teaching Abroad pod, coming at you on Wednesday, May the 26th. I am your host, James Davis, and this podcast is brought to you by Oxford Seminars. If you're looking to teach overseas or online, check out Oxford Seminars' new and improved 120-hour TESOL, TESOL, TEFL course, complete with access to the unrivaled job placement service. Go to oxfordseminars.com for more details, or even better, attend one of their upcoming information sessions. And with that, welcome to episode 3 of the Teaching Abroad pod, where we will discuss all things TESOL, from travel adventure stories and food recommendations, mostly food recommendations, to teaching tips and job search advice. We'll be releasing new episodes every 2 weeks, so be sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss any new episodes. You can find us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Overcast, Stitcher, or pretty much anywhere you can find a podcast. And I would like to introduce my co-host, Rowan. Rowan, how are you doing today?
Hey, James. I am doing great. How about you?
I am doing very, very well indeed. Thank you very much.
So I've been thinking ahead to the upcoming interview where we'll be speaking with English teacher and photographer Mychelle Vincent, who's based in Italy. And it's got me thinking a lot about pizza and the different ways pizza are done around the world. Because, I really love pizza, whether it's cheesy, artery-busting pizzas, wood-fired oven pizzas with just a sprinkling of cheese on top. Pizzas can be so different around the world. I remember in Thailand, it was very common to see corn on pizza, or, in Chicago, there's deep dish. In New York, there's thin crust. In Korea, you can get kimchi pizza even, or, I don't know, all the strangest sweet drizzlings of sauce on top and things. There was even one that was like a stuffed crust with some vegetable, wasn't there?
Yes, I have been burnt by this during my time in Korea. So I ordered this pizza, thought I had a lovely cheesy crust. I was so excited. And then I took a bite and it was like mashed sweet potato just stuffed in that crust.
Not what you imagine it to be in a pizza crust.
No, I think even if I was prepared for it, I would still have been disappointed, but to not have cheese was it was soul destroying.
I think my getting burned was more financial. I had first arrived in Korea and needed something to eat, taste of home, I guess. So I found a Pizza Hut and paid like, I don't know, 20 or 30 bucks or something for a large pizza. And it wasn't until a few days later I discovered you can get really good pizzas from other places, like Imsil cheese pizza or something, probably half the price, where they have this lovely cheese made by, this farm in Imsil County, started by a Belgian priest or something. That's now grown into this huge chain across Korea. Those are pizzas I would recommend.
Yeah, there's a whole spectrum of pizzas, I would say, in Korea. My favorite cheap pizza is from this place called Pizza School, where you can get just like a cheese pizza for like $5, which is great. But they do have some weird ones. Like they have a potato pizza, which is like potato wedges and bacon. But they also have the variation, which is the Irish potato pizza, which is kind of French fries and mayonnaise on a pizza. So,
Oh,
Korea.
Is that what you recommend, James?
I mean, if you've had a few drinks, it's not the worst in the world. I'll
Sounds
say
like
that.
the worst in the world to me, but I've never tried it.
I don't know. Once you've had some soju, everything tastes good.
So what would you say is your favorite pizza you've ever
had? So there's a restaurant that was made famous by the book and then the movie of the book, Eat, Pray, Love, in Naples. And they actually opened another pizzeria in London. So when my wife and I went to visit London, we went to try out this famous pizzeria, and it was just unbelievable. Like, it was the traditional Naples style. It was delicious. How about you?
Um, Vancouver is pretty famous for their pizzas as well. They just pizza on every corner practically, 99 cent, 98 cent, 97 cent slices. So I don't know, maybe I'm just cheap, but that was probably my favorite place to live and love pizza. But there's some pretty high quality ones too down on Granville Island, places like that.
Nice. Well, we are going to take a short break. And after that, you'll be treated to the interview with Mychelle Vincent, where she will blow all of our pizza stories right out of the water and tell us a bit more about her experiences in Italy as a teacher and photographer. But for now, here is a word from our sponsor. With Oxford Seminars, starting your new career teaching ESL couldn't be easier. Oxford Seminars has trained more than 70,000 teachers over the past 20 years, and you could be next. Their comprehensive 120-hour program starts with live instruction from an experienced ESL teacher, followed by convenient online modules. If your goal is to relocate overseas, or even teach from the comfort of your own home, Oxford Seminars' renowned lifetime job placement service will get you where you want to be. Call 1-800-779-1779 by May 28th and give the code POD526 to get $50 off your Oxford Seminars TESOL course price when paying in full. If you're too late, don't worry, there'll be another code in the next episode. Now back to the show. Okay, we are now joined by Mychelle Vincent. Mychelle is an ESL teacher and photographer based in Milan. She graduated the Oxford Seminars TESOL TEFL course back in 2018, and you can find her amazing photos at michellevincent.com. That is MyChelleVincent.com. Mychelle, you also have a rather unique title based on your work with the Democratic Party. What is that title?
So right now I am the vice chair of the Northern Italy chapter of Democrats Abroad, which is the official branch of the Democratic Party of the United States for American citizens living abroad who also identify usually as Democrat. So our main role is to try to keep Americans involved and make sure that everyone knows how to vote when they're living abroad, whether it's temporary or permanent. So I am still a little bit new to this role, but it's really exciting and it's a great way to stay involved, because one of the hardest things for me is that I'm very politically, inspired, and I like to stay involved and participate in things. But when you don't live in your country, you don't really have that opportunity too often. So it's been great so far, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what we can do.
Nice. I imagine you were pretty busy with that over the past year.
Yeah, well, I actually just joined the team in March, so
okay.
I kind of skipped the really intense election season.
Okay, that's kind of a relief.
Yeah, I think I was already pretty stressed at that time. So
yeah. 2022 is going to be a big enough one for you, I'd imagine.
Yeah, definitely. Already preparing for this.
Nice. Do you have any advice for anyone who's looking to stay politically active while living overseas?
Yes, definitely. Well, first of all, you can go to our website, which is democratsabroad.org. There's a lot of information there, especially about how to vote abroad. There is, in pretty much every country, there is a national chapter. So whatever country you're living in right now, you can find within the website your country's chapter and follow them on social media and try to stay involved. If you have questions, everybody's really happy to help out and answer your questions. And it's also a great way to, have a sense of community and sometimes stay connected. There's, in the last few years, there's been a lot of big political movements that have been able to spread throughout the world. And sometimes you see American political marches, like Black Lives Matter marches or something in cities around the world, because there are a lot of Americans living all over the place. So it's a great way for us to come together and send a message to our government or to whoever we need to at the time. So yeah, visit the website, visit the social media pages, follow, contact. it's a team of volunteers. So, we're all here because we want to be here, and we're happy to help out however we can. And that's probably the best advice I have.
Perfect. Thank you.
So Michelle, how did you wind up in Italy?
So I had actually, during my university, my time at university, I had always dreamed of studying abroad. I had a lot of people in my life up to that point who I just thought were so amazing because they had gone to study in a different country, or they took a solo trip to a country without a plan. And I thought, I have to do this. I have to study abroad. And when I was entering my third or fourth year of my university, I realized, oh my God, it's almost over and I haven't gone yet. So I finally, narrowed it down to a program in Viterbo, which is in central Italy, kind of near Rome, about 2 hours by train. And lucky for me, my university is the headquarters for USAC, which is the study abroad consortium for this. So I had a lot of help, getting through the process of getting a student visa and everything. And then my study abroad program was the first time that I ever left the US. No one in my family has ever left the US. No one has a passport. So I really went in completely blind, not knowing what to expect. But I was very fortunate to be part of a really great program and have someone to kind of guide me and hold my hand through adjusting to Italian life and learning the language a bit, and all of those things. And the town is really wonderful. It's full of great people, and it's a pretty small city. So it's not, it's really authentic. It's not a tourist city. It's not like studying abroad in Florence or Milan or Rome or Venice. It's truly a really Italian town. So nobody spoke English, and everything is really purely Italian. So it was a great experience. And after I did the program in 2015 for about 6 months, and for a semester program. And then the following year, I just thought, oh my God, I have to go back. I can't stay here. I need to go back. So I signed up for the program one more time, and I went for 4 months in the summer of 2016. And then after I graduated, I worked for about a year as a photographer in San Francisco. And the whole time I just had Italy on my mind. I need to go back. I need to move back. How can I move back? So I ended up signing up for the Oxford Seminars TESOL certification. I did that, and then I just I quit my job and I left, and I went looking for work.
All right.
Yeah.
Sounds like it's worked out well for you. Still there?
Yeah, it's been about 2 years now. I mean, it's a long story. I won't get into all the details about, finding the job and everything, but since I've moved here, it's been about 2 years. Yeah.
Now, I apologize, but I have a bit of a bold statement to make, which is that I love pineapple on pizza. That is a hill I will die on. Ever since my college roommate used to order, what was it, mushroom, onion, pineapple. I still order that sometimes to this day. But that's a bit of a debate these days. So what's your take on pineapple on pizza?
Well, I feel, my partner is Brazilian, and so we are, Americans and Brazilians have a lot in common when it comes to food. We really experiment and are quite bold with the things we like to mix and put together and pile on. And Italians are food purists, especially with their food. There's one way to do things. You eat the appetizer, and then the first plate, and then the second plate, the meat, and then you have the dessert. You never put like beans and rice on the same plate, or pasta and a meat on the same plate,
rice
or
and
anything
beans?
like that. You have to separate. And of course, things like pineapple on pizza. I mean, they have a stroke at the thought of this.
So what would happen if I went to Milan and ordered a Hawaiian?
I have no idea what they would do, but they would definitely have a response for you.
All right, can you try that for me and report back the result?
Okay, I'll try to get some intel on that. I'm sure someone has done it.
Thank you. So what would you say then is the best pizza you have ordered in Italy?
I'm very boring with these things. I like simple combinations. So you can order anything. You go to a restaurant and you could just say like sorpresa, like just surprise me, bring me something, and they will bring you something wonderful. It's really good. In Italy, I think the biggest thing is great ingredients. So you could have the exact same dish somewhere else, like in the US. I've even tried to make the exact same things I make here, and it's just not the same. So when I order pizza, I'm very boring. I order bufala, which is like margarita, but with buffalo mozzarella. And it's so good. It's mozzarella, basil, tomato, that's it. And it's phenomenal. It's so good. So for me, that's always my go-to.
So I shouldn't be disappointed by the anchovies on pizza I've had here.
Yeah, you gotta have it in Italy.
It's like sushi in Japan. You haven't had sushi till you've gone to Japan. Or so I'm told.
Yeah, I also have not been to Japan, unfortunately, but one of my best friends lives there, so it's a due trip. But the funniest thing is in Milan, not Italy, but in Milan, I think there are more sushi restaurants than pizzerias.
Really?
And I would say that's probably the most surprising thing about moving here. I don't know when this revolution started, but there's so many sushi restaurants.
So I guess apart from sushi and pizza, what would you say is a dish any visitor to Italy just has to try?
Well, Italy has really famous food, so there's not too many surprises, I guess. At least Americans, we grow up eating a lot of Italian food, but carbonara is great, of course. And it depends on what region you're in. Like in Lazio, where Rome is, cacio e pepe is a really famous dish. It's just basically a lot of cheese and pepper pasta. Sounds kind of weird or simple, but it's quite good. Carbonara, of course, is with eggs and essentially bacon. I mean, it's pancetta or guanciale, but it's fantastic, and there's no going wrong. I can't say what to order, but I can say that avoid tourist restaurants. As always, anyone who's traveled can tell you this. If you're visiting Rome, don't go to those restaurants that are right next to the monuments. Also in Milan, the main strips, don't go to those restaurants. They charge you too much for like microwave food, basically. So, but anywhere outside of that, you're probably going to have a good meal. Don't order spaghetti with meatballs. This is not an Italian dish. Don't order fettuccine alfredo. This is not an Italian dish also.
Okay. I'll keep that in mind.
Besides that, I mean, it's, close your eyes, point at something on the menu. It will be good. It's pretty reliable here. You don't have to worry too much about a bad meal.
Awesome. Thank you.
So, Michelle, I was just wondering how you kind of juggle your photography and your teaching. Like it seems like it could be difficult doing all of that and living in another country.
Yeah, so I mean, this past year in particular, of course, has been a bit difficult, especially for my photography, because it's not exactly a lockdown safe activity to be, hey, how many strangers can I meet up with in a short time period to have close interaction with? So unfortunately, in the last year, I have, my photography has really taken a hit because I haven't been able to do too much. But in general, I've tried to keep my English teaching schedule a bit flexible or open. At least, like I make sure I don't book anything on weekends. Maybe now it's changing, but I try to keep, for example, maybe one day a week where I have like a good part of the day open, so that if I'm able to book a photo shoot, I have that time. And I keep weekends for photo shoots also. So you find a way. I mean, I think with time, unfortunately, I did lose this last year for this, but my plan was with time, hopefully as my photography starts to take more of my schedule, I'll take less and less time with the English teaching. So kind of transition into that more.
So are you enjoying this new focus then? You're focusing more on your teaching, less on the photography, or is it burdensome?
I mean, it's an adventure. I recently changed where I'm teaching also. So for the past year or so, I've been working at a school at Nido, like it's kind of like a preschool. So my students were 4 or 5 years old, more or less, and it's quite exhausting. There's a classroom of more than 25 children, like a lot of kids, but we had at least 3 teachers in there. I think it was draining a bit too much of my energy. And then I also have some back problems and stuff, and staying too much with young kids was a bit much. So now I have changed to a English school that's mostly adults, teenagers, focused on learning English specifically. So it's been really great so far. I'm still picking up students, still transitioning into it, but the team is really great. Everyone's really friendly and welcoming, and the location is absolutely killer. It's in Navili, which in Milan is like the cool hip district. You know, it's the canals where all the bars are, that everybody goes out. And it's really great. It's easy to get there. I have a shorter commute. I'm getting paid a lot more than I was before. So I'm really excited about the new job. And yeah, it's great.
How did you find your teaching jobs in Italy?
The first job at the school, actually, somebody had made a Facebook post in an international people in Milan kind of group. Someone had made a post that he was leaving his job and he was looking for someone to replace him. And it seemed to fit quite well for me at the time. And so I ended up becoming really good friends with this man and his wife. And they have a daughter, and now they just had another daughter, and they've become friends. But I met him through this, and he had posted he needed to find someone to replace himself. So we met up, we talked a lot, and then he kind of recommended me to the job. So that's how I ended up at that one. And then this job that I've just started, one of my board members, so I'm the vice chair for Democrats Abroad. Our secretary, Christian, he had a friend who works at this school and said, hey, if you're looking for a new job, they're trying to find a new teacher. So, if you're interested, and it worked out. So I've gotten quite lucky with the connections there. When I first completed my Oxford Seminars course, actually, I had a lot of options given to me for placement. But I was a little bit too stuck. I wanted to go back to Italy specifically, and it was quite hard to land a work visa here. So I ended up not, unfortunately, I still keep an eye on it, but I ended up not getting my job through the placement program, but there had been a lot of options there. Sometimes I think, like, God, what would have happened if I had gone to Spain or Korea or, somewhere else? But yeah, I've just kind of gotten lucky here.
Well, that is one thing we've noticed in the placement team, that there's a lot of job postings for Italy on the job boards, Temple.com, things like that, but you don't hear back from a lot of them. So is it really, are you finding you should be there applying in person, making connections?
Yeah, it can be really difficult to find a job in Italy, and even jobs that are English based, you're still expected to speak Italian. Even the school I was just working at, everyone was very nice, but almost nobody spoke English. So communications and stuff you missed out on, or you didn't understand what was going on, or you only found out about meetings like right before, because unlike a lot of European countries, there's not so many English speakers, like Italian English speakers. It's not really hasn't really been a priority. I think now they're trying to push more people to learn English. But in general, most adults are not English speakers. So they look for employees that are already speaking Italian, because they also don't speak English. So it's easier to work with. And just in general, it's tough to get a work visa here. So those two things combined already, if you're not a fluent speaker, it can be quite difficult.
Good to know.
Yeah.
I'm just also curious, you've been there the last few years, and also you've probably noticed this global pandemic that has hit the world. So I'm wondering how that affected your schools and your teaching, if you had to adapt your methods or delivery, things like that.
So when all of this first went down, they had decided to close the schools kind of immediately. And at that time, my husband and I decided to go to, he's from Brazil. So right at the start of everything, we went to Brazil, and then ended up kind of trapped there, but at least we were with family. We didn't expect to stay for as long as we did, but because my students are at that time were so young, it was just kind of like a school canceled situation. I also have 2 private students right now that I tutor. One is now 3 and the other is 5. So in that time, I just wasn't seeing them. So I went quite a few months where I just wasn't seeing those students because, you know, it was even when we returned to Italy, there were still the regulations, and, you know, we weren't able to interact in person. And because they are also very young, it was the same issue. So now at this new school, there's a lot of online classes, but a lot of the teachers are vaccinated now because teachers were able to get vaccines. So teachers are vaccinated. We still have some online students, some in person, but I was really lucky in this past year that I'm in a country where the government was helping supplement income. So during the time that I wasn't able to work at the school, I was still receiving 80% of my income.
Oh,
So
wow. Nice.
luckily I had kind of a safety net there. And I also still receive the $1,400 stimulus check from the US government. So that kind of helped with that other 20% I wasn't getting.
Nice. So you've mentioned you started with young children and moved into teaching adults. What kinds of EFL jobs do you find are typically available in Italy? You know, what market should people be targeting to give themselves the best chance to find a job?
There are in Milan, I can't say the rest of Italy, but in Milan, there are quite a few of the adult language schools. So where you're doing, you know, these one-on-one lessons with adults trying to improve their English, especially in Milan because it's an international city. There are a lot of headquarters or offices for businesses that are international, and the employees need to improve their English in order to be the most successful they can be at their job. So there's a lot of business clients. When I was doing a lot of interviews looking for schools originally, I interviewed with quite a few schools that had a heavy focus on the business end. So there's a variety of that. Sometimes you have high school students who are taking English courses. Maybe they need to they want to go to a university in the US or something, and they need to take an SAT, so they need to really improve their English on that level to be able to get a high enough score on that kind of exam. So it's kind of a mixed bag, but I think there are quite a few adults who need to improve their English for their jobs, is what I'm seeing the most.
Michelle, if it's all right with you, we have some quick fire questions about teaching overseas for you.
Okay.
So no pressure.
Okay.
Number one.
The music, you know.
Yeah. Number one. What is the weirdest thing you've eaten on your travels?
This is not a rapid fire answer because weirdest thing I've eaten on my travels. Oh gosh, sorry, I don't have a ready answer for this one.
That's all right.
You know, like not something that I ate, but something I had the opportunity to eat that I'm not so adventurous, I guess. But in Puglia, in the region in the south of it, a region in the south of Italy, I had a man at like 9 in the morning offer me like a raw octopus to eat because this is something that's very normal for them. And I hadn't even had coffee yet, and I was kind of, that is a very nice gesture, but I'm gonna pass today.
I think that covers it pretty well. That's good.
Yeah.
Second question, what's your favorite local hangout spot?
You know, I like to walk around a lot. Milan is so beautiful. You can just walk a lot. But I have a dog that I just adopted in September. And so I have another friend with a dog. We go to the dog park in Parco Sempione here, which is a gigantic park. It's like the central park of Milan. And there is a huge, huge, huge dog park. And so not every weekend, but quite often we meet up at the dog park and spend like 2 or 3 hours there just sitting around watching our dogs, you know, be dogs. So lately that has been my favorite hangout spot because there's not too much other activities allowed.
Nice. What type of dog do you have?
She's a mix. She's I can have her say hi. She'll jump right up here.
Oh, wow.
Let me grab her.
This is what we need more of on the podcast. Less teaching abroad, more pets.
Where's Ziggy?
Ziggy is around. He's trying. Oh,
Your dog would be harder to put on your lap, James.
yeah. Ziggy's too big. He's too heavy these days. Oh, she's so cute. What's her name?
Pepper.
Pepper. Oh.
But before I adopted her, we adopted her at 4 months old, and her name was Paffy. So we kind of, changed that one.
Close enough.
She's a baby. She just had her first birthday last week.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
So I think maybe we have the answer sat on your lap, but what is one new thing you've tried since moving overseas?
Oh, yeah. This kind of goes back a little more also, besides her, of course, but okay, let me kick her out because when I'm on the computer, she goes crazy. When I went to study abroad originally, now it's been a few years, I grew up as a very picky eater and kind of a limited person. I have an anxiety disorder, so I'm very anxious about certain things. And when I came to Italy, I came with a mindset of do everything and eat everything, which of course it's not, the food here is not so adventurous. So maybe that's not saying that much, but I feel like I've changed my whole mindset about experiences. And now I always do everything. And, it's always changing what's the crazy new thing, I guess. But I think back then when I first came abroad, couch surfing, I think at the time was the craziest thing to change my mind, because I don't know if you guys have used this for traveling, but couch surfing is a website where it's essentially like Airbnb, but there's not an exchange of money. It's more about experiences and meeting new people. And you should you host and you also use the services when you're traveling, and it's just a really, really great experience. And I think that's probably.
Should have my sister on who went couch surfing in Italy. She has some stories to tell.
Yeah, it can be a bit of a mixed bag sometimes. You have to really make good decisions about who you stay with. Read the reviews. Trust your gut. If someone seems kind of weird, maybe choose a different host.
Well, apparently, you should check if your host is a nudist before accepting.
Oh, you should definitely clarify that ahead of time. What's your sleeping arrangement? Do you have your own bed, or is this a shared bed situation? But it's not all that bad, I swear. I've met some actually my husband I met through couch surfing. So it's not all weirdos, but it's really great.
Apparently he was a very nice fellow.
Yeah. And I also, after I had studied abroad and I went back to the US, I hosted a few travelers, not too many, because at the time I lived in Reno, Nevada. So, it's not exactly a tourist hotspot. So we didn't have too many travelers, but it's great. Today, to me, it just seems like such a normal thing to use couch surfing. But I do remember, 5 years ago, it was kind of nerve-wracking and scary. Oh my God, what am I doing? And staying with people and going without a plan, traveling. And yeah, it's all part of the experience,
And last of the quick questions, what is your top tip for someone new to teaching abroad?
I would say having some experience yourself of trying to learn a new language, actually, because I think when you move abroad, you get this, but of course, if you're moving and starting to work right away, you might not get this chance. But being somebody who is desperately trying to learn a language and struggling really gives you a lot of insight into what your students might be going through. Especially if they plan to live abroad or if they have lived abroad and they really need to use their English. And if, maybe if you haven't been in their shoes, you might be a bit impatient sometimes or not understand why they're not getting something. And if you've been the person who doesn't speak the language, it's quite stressful and it's difficult and you get frustrated with yourself also. So I would definitely say wherever you move, take language courses there and be the student for a while. You know, I think it really it's the best thing you can do to also be a better teacher, to understand what might work or not work. And also, you know, whatever country you're going to, just embrace it. Just go with whatever's being handed to you. Just go there and, you know, try everything. I mean, you know, maybe you can skip on some things. You don't need to have raw octopus at 9 a.m. But if you can, if you're brave, but you know, embrace everything and listen to people and you know, take the culture. You know, be part of it and make local friends and try to learn as much as you can. I think a lot of people teach for a short period, maybe 1 or 2 years of their life, and then they move back home. So, you know, make the most of that time and get to know that country, travel around that country, and yeah, and immerse yourself.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And one final question for you. Do you have any advice or words of encouragement to anyone thinking about taking the Oxford Seminars course and, you know, going overseas?
Yes, I have the same advice that I would give people who are in college and thinking about studying abroad. Just do it. Just do it. I mean, you know, you only have most people doing this are usually in their, you know, somewhere between 18 and 30 years old usually, and you know, it's a time in your life where you can do this, and you know, once that passes, it passes, and you don't get this again. And I mean, I've never met anybody who studied abroad or moved abroad to teach or did anything and said, oh, I wish I hadn't done that. You know, nobody ever says this. You know, some of us end up just permanently moving also. Really just do it. Don't think too much about it. I know, you know, getting a certification can seem like a little bit of an investment, and you're not sure if, oh God, should I spend this money? I don't know. You should absolutely do it. I think anything that you have going on right now in your life, I think Oxford Seminars, is it mostly Americans that take this?
Yeah, Americans and Canadians. Yeah.
Okay. Whatever you've got going on in North America, you know, you can always come back to it. And this is something that you should really just grasp. I mean, I know it's really corny and you hear it all the time, and it kind of loses its meaning, but like it's life-changing. It's really life-changing. I'm not the same person I was before I came to Italy, and before I had this opportunity to travel all over. And even if you only go for 1 year and then you move back home, you'll be better for it, and you'll have such an amazing experience, and it just opens a lot of doors for you within yourself, you know. So my advice is definitely just do it. Don't overthink it. Don't rationalize yourself out of it like it's something, you know, there's no rational reason to do it. You know, you got to do it. You have to do it.
Perfect. Well, Michelle, thank you so much for giving us your time today. It was so great talking to you. And thank you for letting us meet Pepper. That is a real treat that we did not expect. I have one request, and that is you go and enjoy all of the amazing food on our behalf.
Okay, I can definitely do that. And also Pepper is always happy to meet new people too. So anybody coming to Italy, Pepper would love to meet you.
That's great. Thank you so much.
So nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Have a great day. I guess it's morning for you.
Have a great night.
Yeah, you too. Bye.
All right, thanks. Bye.
Don't forget, you could get $50 off your Oxford Seminars TESOL TESOL TEFL course price when paying in full by calling 1-800-779-1779 by May 28th and giving the code POD526. Oxford Seminars is one of the leading providers of TESOL TESOL TEFL training courses in North America, so visit oxfordseminars.com today to find out more. Now back to the show.
Thanks again to Michelle for her wonderful interview and making us all rather jealous of her life in Italy and rather hungry, let's be honest. And thanks to Pepper. What a cutie. Rowan, before we wrap this up, can you give us an update from the Oxford Seminars Job Placement Service?
Well, this talk of Italy really got me thinking about what kinds of jobs are available through the job placement service in Europe. And we do have access to a variety of teaching positions on the continent. It can be a bit of a challenging market to find work for those without an EU passport, but even for those without, there are jobs available through our contacts, hiring for elementary and secondary schools in Spain, which is a work-study program for youth, as well as language schools in Slovakia, Czechia, and Russia. All of those primarily start interviewing in March for potential September starts. So it is good to apply early each year for those before they fill up. And we also have contacts in Germany and France, though they really do prefer interviewing those available for in-person interviews or who have legal working rights in France, respectively. But as Alex and our fine guest Brent mentioned in the last episode, there are also many summer camp style teaching opportunities available across Europe each year, and we'd be happy certainly to connect people to those types of positions as well.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Ryan, for your update. And thank you, listeners, for tuning into the Teaching Abroad pod. We'll be releasing new episodes every other Wednesday. If you enjoyed this episode, please be sure to like and subscribe and share it with your friends. Remember, you can find us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, anywhere that you can find a podcast. If you have any great ideas that you'd like to hear us discuss in upcoming episodes, please leave them in the comments on YouTube or send us a message on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. And that's the Oxford Seminars groups on those social media platforms. Or you can send us an email directly at teachingabroadpod@oxfordseminars.com. Thank you.